This is the poker car guy, Anthony Santangelo, coming to you again today with a topic about the art of leasing. Now, a lot of people, when they hear the word lease, they get very, very nervous. They think, oh, I don't want to lease something, I want to own something. Well, I'm here to talk to you today about the benefits of leasing versus buying a new vehicle. The first question I always ask my clients is, how long do you want to keep your vehicle? That's the number one question that will make you determine if you're going to lease or buy a new vehicle. If you like the idea of switching cars every few years, then leasing will be good for you. If you want to keep a vehicle 7, 8, 9, 10 years, then obviously that's not a benefit of leasing. Some people confuse and they think, oh, I'm going to lease to buy the car. Well, what they end up doing is they'll lease a car for the 3 years and then choose to buy it and do a 5-year loan after that. Well, now you finance the car for 8 years. So I ask you out there, would you go into a brand new lot and pick up a new car and finance it for 96 months, which is an 8-year loan? Well, no, of course you wouldn't. I've never done that ever in 19 years of selling cars, put one of my clients in a 96-month loan, an 8-year loan. I don't believe in it. I think it hurts them, and I won't do that personally. So if you want to keep a vehicle a long time, then you purchase a vehicle. If you like to switch cars and you like to escape having all that negative equity and depreciation, that's the benefit of leasing. So the first step, obviously we just talked about, is you're going to lease a car, but you're not going to keep it a very long time. Most leases are 36 or 39 months, and that's where your commitment's going to be, somewhere in that realm. The next question you want to ask yourself is, how many miles a year do you drive? Now, if you're driving 30,000 miles a year, again, you probably should purchase the car versus leasing. But most leases are 12,000 miles a year. You can do 15,000 miles a year. There is a select few companies do a 10,000 mile a year lease. And believe it or not, you can do 17, 18, 20, 25,000 miles a year for leasing, which a lot of salespeople don't even know that in their store. I do a lot of higher miles leasing for my clients. And the benefit of having those miles up front is it costs 10 cents a mile to buy those miles up front. Where with a lease, if you go over your miles, the miles penalty can be anywhere from 15 to 25 cents a mile, plus the appropriate state tax of where you live. So if you know you're going to drive those extra miles, don't think, oh, I have to only buy the car. No, you can lease the car, and you can do a 20,000 mile a year lease. And you can buy those miles up front at 10 cents a mile. You cannot change that in the middle of the lease at all. So that's something you want to decide before you sign the dotted line, so to speak. With leasing, you also, and a lot of people think this, they'll buy the lease at the end. And we just talked about this. You never want to buy a lease out at the end. I don't care what the circumstance is. I don't care if you made a mistake and went over your miles. You love the car so much. You never want to buy the lease out at the end. It is never a good financial avenue to do that, ever, ever, ever. And a lot of times at the picnics and the holiday parties, people were saying, oh yeah, I can buy my lease and do this and everything. Well, unfortunately, I'm here to say that they're incorrect in thinking that you do not want to go that route. You also want to ask when it comes to your lease provider if they have gap insurance. Now, I work for Nissan and Subaru, and Nissan and Subaru both have gap insurance free with their leasing. The benefit of that is if the vehicle is stolen or totaled, you walk away and you owe nothing. Toyota does not. Toyota charges you for gap insurance, and that can be as much as $25 a month additional on your payment. That's a big difference when you're leasing a car, especially if you're leasing a small vehicle and you have to have gap insurance. You do not want to roll the dice when it comes to that, when it comes to having the gap insurance on it. For your businesses out there, you can check with your CPA, but a lot of businesses lease vehicles, and if they put it under the business name, there is tax write-offs for the miles and the monthly payment that you can put toward your business. So for businesses, there's a very, very big reason to lease vehicles because it's going to save you money when you go to file your taxes as a business on it. I hope those things make sense when it comes to the art of leasing. I'm a math guy, obviously being the poker car guy. But I always say I love math, but I hate algebra. I don't like the unknown. And I consider the unknown to be if you buy a car and say, well, I want to have no payments eventually. Okay, so you buy a car, you pay approximately $100 more a month to buy it than you would lease it, and you do a 5 or 6 year loan, and you keep the vehicle 10 years. Okay, so now you finally paid the car off, you own it free and clear, you have 85,000 miles on the vehicle, and you're not making any payments, and you're very happy. But now you have the unknown. What's going to happen with that car with the service department? So the way I look at it is either paying a payment to the bank that you know every month, or you have those unknowns when it comes to the service department, which is that algebraic equation that none of us probably like. I don't think anyone liked algebra in school there. The unknown. It could be zero. It could be $1,000 one month. And let's face it, when things come up and it's unknown, it's never the right time. It's always you just got back from vacation. It's 2 weeks before Christmas. You just put your kid in a private school. There's always a reason to say, I don't have the money to take care of this. So the benefit of leasing, again, is you change the oil, you rotate your tires. That's about it. Depending on how many miles you drive, you might have to replace tires and brakes, but most people don't have to over the course of the lease. And now you know exactly how much you're paying a month, and there's no unknown. When it comes to having a vehicle and choosing what type of vehicle that you want to have, the other benefit of leasing is because you're only paying for a portion of the car, you can get some more equipment. So for example, say you're looking at a $30,000 vehicle. Roughly a $30,000 vehicle is going to be somewhere in the high fives to low sixes on a monthly payment because you're buying the whole car if you buy the car. Well, with leasing the car, you're only paying for a portion of that vehicle. And that's set by the manufacturer, and that's called a residual value. You're only paying somewhere between 40 to 55% of that vehicle. So those extra equipments, the navigation, the leather, the heating seat, the heated seats, the air conditioned seats, all these different features, sometimes it helps you afford the vehicle a little better because you're only paying for a portion of that versus the whole thing. So leasing a vehicle allows you to get into some nicer equipped car, which obviously we're always looking for all the bells and whistles. We all have our hot buttons, so to speak, as we say in the car business, including myself. I lease myself personally as well. I lease Nissan Muranos. I have leased 6 of them in a row. So I'm a little bit consistently boring, obviously having the same vehicle, but I enjoy leasing that vehicle, and that's my personal preference in the Nissan line. Before that, I received company cars and demos for the first 10 years. I had sold cars. Well, those days are over, and that's another story we'll talk about another day when it comes to having demos as car salesmen on it. The other benefits of leasing, you have a pull-ahead program a lot of times with leasing companies where they will waive 2, 3, 4 payments left at the end of your lease if you get into their lease. With a retail loan, you never will have that option because you own the vehicle. With a lease, the manufacturer owns the vehicle, and they can choose to do that. For Nissan right now, they've been waiving for the last year or so the last 2 payments on someone's lease. So if somebody has 4 payments left, Nissan corporate waives the 2, I pick up the other 2, and they can walk into their leased vehicle and go from there. And obviously, that makes a lot of sense for a lot of clients with it. So, money down on the lease is something that you want to do as a minimum. If you can afford the whole world, you don't want to get caught up into putting $4,000, $5,000, $6,000 down on the lease, because you do have the gap insurance that we talked about, but you don't get that money back. The purpose of the gap insurance is to break even on the vehicle and start fresh. So if you're putting that type of large down payment down, you would lose that if the vehicle was stolen or totaled. Also, if you put that large amount of money down and you go to, the lease is up and lease another car, okay, I want my payment to do the same. Okay, well, you need another check for that type of down payment down again. Well, I don't have it this time. Well, your payment's going to go up substantially. And that's why I suggest to a lot of my clients, put the minimum down. Put your first payment and your tag fees down, which is similar to putting your tax and tags down on a purchase of a car or having your closing costs down on a home. That's where the benefit is, not putting a large amount of money down. This also includes if you have a trade-in that you're trading in that you own free and clear, or you have equity in. Say you have a car and it's 4.5 years old, and you only have 6 months left on the loan. You might have a few thousand, maybe even $6, $7, $8,000 of equity in that vehicle if you chose to keep it that long. You don't want to sit and flow all that positive equity into a depreciating item. You can actually take a check back for cash on that versus putting it toward the lease. And I'll explain that to you a little bit more in detail. Let's say, for example, you have a trade-in and the car is worth $10,000 and you owe $4,000 on it. Well, you have $6,000 of positive equity. You might want to take, say, $500 to $1,000 of that and apply it toward the lease to cover your startup fees, your inception fees in the lease, first payment, tags. But you don't want to apply the rest of that toward the lease. It'll make your payment really cheap, but that's going to hurt you in the long haul. And the benefit of leasing is that you're set up in the long haul. You're doing things right now and also doing things right in the future. So you want to take a check back for that in cash, and yes, you can do that. Now, there is some car salespeople out there that will take the pathway of least resistance because they're not planning on being there for you when your lease is up. And they'll say, oh yeah, put all this down so your payment could be $125 a month. And you think, oh great, rah, 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 I'm driving this $30,000 car and I'm paying $125 a month. Well, you don't think what's going to happen when that lease comes up at the ends and you don't have that down payment, that trade equity again. Take that money, put it back in the piggy bank. Put that pasta in the bank in cash. Don't put it toward a depreciating item. Businesses out there as well do this quite a bit, where you put the minimum down. One of my largest clients, they've leased many, many vehicles from me in double digits, and they always put the minimal down on leases and go that route. And we talked about before having the tax benefits of it. So I hope that makes sense about the art of leasing as far as the benefits of leasing versus buying. My name is Anthony Santangelo. I am the Poker Car Guy. And you can reach me at pokercarguy@gmail.com or 484-574-8338. I'm here to serve you for any of your automobile questions or poker needs. Make it a great day, guys. Go all in.